In 1845, Sir John Franklin departed England with 128 men and 2 ships, the Erebus and the Terror, in search of a northwest passage. However, none of them would ever return, having all met their demise in the harsh Canadian Arctic. Over the years, archaeologists and other searchers working in the Arctic have uncovered remnants of this voyage scattered across the landscape. 2 of the most intriguing of these sites, and the topic of my research, are the remains of 2 boats that were dragged across the ice from the Erebus and Terror by Franklin's crew, and eventually abandoned on the coast of King William Island. Unfortunately, a number of the men died there, and in the top right, you can see an artist's conceptualization of their final days. Years later, when archaeologists arrived, they found abandoned supplies and the remains of at least 15 members of Franklin's crew, including the individual pictured in the middle right. It was also evident, based on the fragmentary nature of the remains, that they were not the first to have encountered these boats after Franklin's men perished there. Wood and metal are valuable and rare resources in the Arctic, and the archaeological evidence shows that the Inuit found these boats, dismantled them, and took what they deemed useful, leaving behind scraps of material like that pictured here on the bottom right. The goal of my master's thesis is to reconstruct exactly how the Inuit interacted with these sites, to understand the impact that the Franklin expedition had on their lives. Normally, archaeologists are able to use the material that they recovered during excavation to piece together what happened in the past. But the Inuit removed a lot of material. And so my interests are largely in what we didn't recover, that is, negative evidence. The problem is, numerous scholars suggest that interpreting the archaeological record based on negative evidence is dangerous because there are too many non-cultural factors that can make things go missing. Bones decompose, metal rusts, and environmental changes like erosion can even cause parts of sites to fall apart. However, there have been studies that successfully controlled for these factors, and if we blanket condemn the use of negative evidence, we miss important stories from the past that rely on these forms of evidence. For the Franklin expedition, we miss the huge contributions that the Inuit made to what happened at these boat sites altogether. I will use models of the boats and evidence on the artifacts we do have that material was removed to reconstruct what the Inuit took away and challenge the belief that we, as archaeologists, should avoid making interpretations based on what is missing. My work will not only question how archaeologists interpret the past, but more importantly, it will provide a venue for voicing the stories of an often marginalized population in our quest to understand a part of this country's remarkable past. Thank you.